8 tabs open, 3 apps switching. The to-do list rewritten for the second time today because rewriting it felt like making progress. The desk organized before the work began. The playlist curated, the water bottle filled, the phone placed nearby just in case something important comes through. You have been busy for 6 hours. You have produced nothing that moves anything forward. And the lie, the specific lie this video is about, is not that you wasted the day. It's that somewhere in those 6 hours, you told yourself you were working, not performing work. Working. And the gap between those two things is the gap between where you are and where you keep saying you are trying to go. Tony Stark could fill a day with busy meetings, iterations, upgrades on things that were already working, systems built around systems. The workshop had infinite ways to be occupied without producing anything that changed the outcome. What separated the suits that mattered from the days that dissolved was one question. Stark eventually learned to ask, before anything else, does this move the thing forward? Or does it make me feel like I am moving the thing forward? Those are not the same question. They have never produced the same answer. And most men never ask the second one at all. Here is the hard truth about why, and what honest accounting of a productive day actually looks like. Productive busyness and productive output are different categories of activity that produce identical feelings and completely different results. The brain rewards effort, not output. Effort, the sensation of working hard, of being engaged, of moving through tasks and checking boxes, triggers the same internal sense of progress, regardless of whether any of the tasks checked moved the important thing forward. This is not a character flaw. It is a feature of how the brain processes activity. The problem is that a man who relies on that feeling as his productivity metric is a man who can be completely deceived by it. He can feel productive for 8 hours and produce nothing. He can feel disciplined for a month and be exactly where he was 30 days ago. The feeling is real. The output is absent, and the two things feel identical from the inside. Stark had to learn to separate them by brutal, honest accounting, not by feeling, by output. What exists tonight that didn't exist this morning? What moved that was stuck? What is closer to done that was further from done at the start of the day? If the answer is nothing, then the day was not a productive day, regardless of how occupied it felt. That accounting is uncomfortable. It is supposed to be uncomfortable. Discomfort is the only mechanism that breaks the lie open. Here is what the lie looks like in the specific, observable moments where it operates. It looks like organizing the workspace before starting. Legitimate once. Every time it happens before hard work, it is the lie. It looks like reading one more article about the thing before doing the thing. Legitimate in the research phase. After the research phase, it is the lie. It looks like answering low-priority messages at the start of the session because clearing the inbox creates a clean mental state. The mental state never gets clean. The session never starts. It is the lie. It looks like switching tasks the moment the current one produces friction, not because the new task is more urgent, because friction is uncomfortable and the new task hasn't produced friction yet. It looks like planning the work in detail, sufficient for execution, and then not executing. It looks like a full day of genuine effort that moved nothing that mattered 1 inch closer to done. Stay with this. What comes next is the one question, asked honestly, answered in writing every single day, that makes the lie impossible to maintain. And the reason most men never ask it is simpler and more uncomfortable than you think. The one question is this: what is the single most important thing that needed to move today? And did it move? Not what got done, not how the day felt, not how many tasks were completed. Did the one thing move? Yes or no? That question, asked daily, answered honestly in writing, makes the productive busyness visible in a way that no amount of self-awareness can replicate, because self-awareness is subject to the same feeling-based distortion that produces the lie. Writing is not. The word on the page does not negotiate with the feeling, it just sits there, accurate, until the man reading it decides to do something about what it says. A man who asks that question honestly, every day for 90 days, accumulates something that most men who consider themselves productive never acquire: an accurate picture of where his time actually goes, not where he thinks it goes, not where he feels it goes, where it actually goes, where it actually goes. Verified by daily written accounting of whether the one important thing moved. Most men, confronted with that picture for the first time, discover that their genuinely productive output, The hours that moved the important thing is a fraction of what they assumed. Not because they are lazy, because the productive busyness was consuming the hours that looked like output and producing the feeling without the substance. The man who has seen that picture honestly cannot unsee it. It changes what he protects at the start of the day, what he refuses to spend the first hour on, what he measures at the end of the session. Not because he became more disciplined, because the honest accounting made the cost of the lie visible. And visible costs get managed in a way that invisible costs never do. Stark's most productive periods were not his busiest. They were the ones where the honest accounting was sharpest, where the question of what actually moved replaced the feeling of having worked hard. That replacement is available to you today. The question is whether the honest answer is something you are willing to write down. You came into this thinking the problem was discipline, that you needed to work harder, focus longer, eliminate more distraction, build a stronger morning routine around a better productivity system. The discipline is not the missing variable. The honest accounting is. A man who tracks output rather than effort discovers within 2 weeks exactly where the lie has been operating. And that discovery does more for his actual productivity than any system, routine, or discipline hack he has ever installed. Because systems built on a false picture of where time goes are systems built on the lie. They optimize the performance of productivity. They do not produce the output. Ask the question. Write the answer. Do it every day for 30 days. The lie cannot survive 30 days of honest written accounting. It requires the absence of the record to function. Give it the record, and it dissolves. Not because you became more disciplined, but because you stopped giving it the darkness it needed to operate in. Tonight, before anything else, answer the question for today. Not the version of today you want to report, the actual version. Did the one most important thing move? Right? Yes or no? One sentence, explaining what moved or what didn't. Tomorrow morning, before the tabs open and the inbox loads and the playlist gets curated and the workspace gets organized, write down the one thing that needs to move tomorrow. Specific, unmistakable. A thing where moved and not moved are the only possible assessments. At the end of tomorrow, answer the question again. That is the entire system. 2 sentences a day. The question asked before and answered after. 30 days of that record is 30 days of the lie being visible in writing. And a man who can see the lie in writing daily, in his own hand, stops telling it, not because he decided to be more honest, because the record made dishonesty expensive in a way that feeling-based productivity never could. You are not unproductive because you lack discipline. You are unproductive because you have been measuring the feeling of working instead of the fact of output. Change the measurement. The behavior follows. 2 sentences. Tonight. Tomorrow morning, tomorrow evening. The lie has been operating in the gap between how the day felt and what the day produced. Close the gap with writing. The hard truth stops being hard the moment it stops being deniable. Honest question. And 1 sentence only. Did the most important thing in your life move forward today? Yes or no? And what was it? Drop it in the comments. That answer, written publicly, is the first day of the honest accounting. If this named the lie you have been living with, subscribe. More of this. No busy days required.